What's going on, and a massive welcome back to the channel. Really excited today to be dropping on you guys a success story interview with my main man Trent Mastalerski. He's got an interesting surname, but anyway, he's a fucking champion. He's just finished up recently, 12 months of coaching with me, and basically the reason why I put together this video has been to be able to unpack his journey, where he was before, where he is now, the awesome transformation process that has gone on for him in between, and basically make it a valuable, insightful video for yourself, so that way you can take some inspiring insights and stuff like that will hopefully help you on your own journey / open you up to the power of what can be possible when you have a coach on your side helping you to absolutely fucking kill it. So yeah, strap yourself in for some awesome insights. We're holding nothing back in this interview. We'll be unpacking everything in between, all sorts of knowledge bombs. So thanks so much for clicking on this video. I really appreciate you being here. Me and my man Trent had this call just yesterday on Zoom, so the whole thing's been recorded. We didn't rehearse any of it. It's just basically, well, yeah, like all of Trent's journey. So to kind of paint the picture, he's a tradie. He, over the time frame of working with me, lost about 10 kgs all up. But yeah, losing fat is cool. But what I really focus on is identity shift. So helping someone to let go entirely of the old shit that was holding them back in their journey prior to working with me. And basically, well, yeah, getting them to the other end, which is being lean, happy, healthy, and having nothing holding them back anymore, because they're now free of the system that is the dieting game, the health and fitness game, and basically, yeah, free to kind of cruise along, maintaining and enjoying their happy, healthy physique. So welcome to the journey of Trent. Strap yourself in, and make sure that if you find this video valuable, or if you have any questions around what you're learning and what we discussed together, comment below, keep the conversation going. Now let's get stuck into the interview. So my man Trent, massive welcome. Thanks for coming onto the call with me, man. And super stoked because today we get to unpackage some of your journey, brother, as part of being one of my alpha male mastery fucking rock stars. So kudos to you, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I've yeah, had a good day, and yeah, ready to rock this out.
Ready to rock this out. So let's fucking unpackage it, brother. So you know, for anyone that's watching, I like to do kind of calls, not really interviews, but kind of just like, I don't even know what you call it, but basically where we can unpack some of someone's story to be able to kind of, well, paint the picture for what's possible when you align yourself to kind of the right shit in terms of training smart, eating smart and stuff like that, as opposed to just following the conventional bro stuff that we all see plastered all over online and in the posters and shit like that. So my man Trent has gone through such a pretty fucking awesome journey, and let's unpackage a bit of it. So my man Trent, why don't you share some insights into you know, what Trent was like you know, a year ago before you crossed paths with me. Paint the picture. What was going on?
Well, where do I start? Like training myself, winging it, sort of having no idea what I was really doing, thinking that I was eating good or eating well, and you know, doing a lot of things the wrong way. Yeah, the last 12 months has yeah, really opened my eyes into how things can be done and how it makes things so much easier, I guess you can say, with what I've learned. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, and this is the thing, because like, time's going to go by anyway, right? And we're all doing shit, so it makes sense to learn how to fucking, well, do the right stuff, so that as time goes by, you're actually getting somewhere, as opposed to just kind of, as you said, winging it, cruising along, and not really seeing much return from your efforts, right? So yeah, like, I'm sure the person that's tuning in is someone that's also an avid gym goer, and likely is also winging it, right? So what sort of style of training were you doing? Were you team cardio? Were you fucking lifting? Were you team CrossFit? Were you powerlifting or whatever? Like, what sort of training were you doing before, if you can remember? Obviously,
I was I was sort of doing a bit of powerlifting and yeah, a lot of weights. But I think, you know, just going about it the wrong way in places. So yeah, sort of just, I don't know, didn't have the right direction, I guess you'd say. Whereas now over the past 12 months, I've yeah, everything's going in the right direction, and yeah, made a heap of massive gains.
And training's obviously fun. and you've got some fucking direction, hey? Because obviously, yeah, you rock up to a session and you know that it's like, all right, cool, it's this full workout, or fuck yeah, cool, like it's leg day, or oh, awesome, it's pool related shit today, sick. Like that sort of stuff's all cool, and we can get that from when we buy, you know, fucking bro workouts and stuff online. But I'm sure you'd agree that when you've actually got overall programming that you're adhering to, it's fucking exciting because there's purpose behind everything, there's meaning behind it all. And that's where a lot of guys struggle with is, well, because that's missing, they get stuck in the whole suck hole that is lacking motivation, lacking clarity, and then, well, yeah, you can only wing it for so long before you just fucking bail and jump ship, right? So you've been able to improve you've been able to improve in all your main lifts across the board. Like I can remember starting out, it was like, sweet, what do you want to focus on? It's just like, bro, I just want to get stronger. It's like, sweet, cool, let's do that. And it was, you know, straight in, and before long, next minute, we're into some powerlifting type reps. We're into, you know, some fucking like big ass high volume based shit going on. But then also, well, you know, some fitness related stuff as well. So in terms of like the structure that I've taken you through and stuff like that, what do you think has been the shit that you've enjoyed the most, or where you know, really feel that you've personally grown the most, you know, in terms of sticking to?
Well, yeah, like the big three they're my favorites. The bench, stand, squat, and I've made massive gains in all three of those over the past 12 months. But even all the accessories as well, like, yeah, everywhere across the board, I've added weight to everything, which is, you know, it's unreal. It's awesome.
And for those who don't know what an accessory exercise is, it's basically, think the bro exercises that we all love: bicep curls, you know, tricep extensions, leg extensions, fucking the good shit. But that helps to make the main lift stronger. And it's when people take their eyes off that they get stuck in the, you know, just doing only accessory exercises, or just shiny object syndrome, where they're looking for some cool new exercise that just, it can get a mad pump, but it's like there's more than the pump, like there's more to it than that. But yeah, to be able to see your progress in terms of your lifts has been fucking awesome, and like getting strong and fit as fuck is obviously fantastic. But then for a lot of guys, where they may be even killing it in that avenue, but what consistently shoots them in the foot is their relationship with food, right? So paint the picture in terms of how your relationship with food was like, because as you said, you were just trying to focus on eating healthy and stuff like that, which for a lot of us is just, well, all that we kind of know. It's just how to eat healthy and control the quality of what we have going in, right? So in terms of like, yeah, what that looked like for you, why don't you share a bit of like a average day in the life of Trent back then in terms of food, or what you used to think in regard to food, like, you know, what did it used to look like?
12 months ago, it's a long way back to remember. I remember what I'm eating now, and it's good. Back then, I mean, I don't know. I think I was sort of, you know, along the same lines, but my portions were way out. I was probably eating a lot more than I needed to be eating. But yeah, sort of. It's it's a bit hard to remember compared to what I'm doing now exactly.
What I was going to touch on there is that what's interesting is that as someone becomes seasoned in flexible dieting and basically just the stuff that I've taught you, in comparison to where someone was before, more often than not, the same shit is kind of being eaten, but it's just that your level of knowledge is now so much deeper that allows you to control quantity-wise, and that's why you achieve such massive aesthetic change. Whereas for a lot of people, they only just know quality, yeah? Like, we focus on trying to eat nutrient-dense shit, yeah? But then obviously, well, where that gets boring is that, well, it's like there's all the other stuff that tastes nice, and then not knowing how to incorporate that, yeah? So for you, what were your hashtag naughty or off-limit foods that you know that you enjoyed, but you'd steer clear of because you thought they were bad? Like, what was that for you?
Where do I start? Chocolate, pizza, ice cream, burgers,
yeah,
wow, ribs, like, you name it. I used to eat it, and I used to eat lots of it. Whereas now I still eat it, but I make the difference in the rest of my day, so I can, you know, accommodate eating that when I want to, which isn't, you know, it's not every day, but geez, it's good when it comes round.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Hey, because and this is where like someone's evolution in the flexible dieting game is fucking cool, because like when someone's fresh into it, it's just like, oh, sick, I can eat whatever I want as long as I meet these numbers. Awesome. And then obviously you're fresh into it and you quickly realize, oh fuck, like if I just eat hashtag YOLO foods all the time, it becomes really fucking hard to get in enough fiber. It becomes really hard to get in enough protein. And you quickly realize that eating hashtag clean foods is going to be necessary most of the time if you want to feel good while nailing the game. Yeah. So this is where, like, obviously, as Trent said, like, he used to eat a lot of healthy foods, and then naturally, as he went through the game anyway, he was eating just kind of different amounts of them while incorporating the shit that he actually really did enjoy. And then what was really cool to see is as someone does well in that, and they drop weight, all that sort of stuff, me being able to go, right, brother, I'm going to get you to start eating more. Let's bring in some refeeds. And then next minute, my man has been getting leaner while eating more food, which is a fucking really good scenario, as opposed to the conventional dieter, which is eat less, grind harder. And it gets to a stage where they're under eating, massively over exercising, and they've kind of fucked themselves. You know what I mean? Which obviously hasn't happened for you, but this happens for a lot of people, and I'm sure whoever's listening can probably relate to it as well, because it's likely what they've struggled with, right? So in terms of you know, now with where you're at, Trent, obviously, like, you know, you're fucking killing it with lifting, you're loving food and stuff like that. In terms of this journey that you've gone through, what do you think have been some of the biggest fucking like light bulb moments or aha moments for you in terms of your own development? Because yeah, you see food differently, yeah, you know, are training with more structure and stuff like that, but you've changed a lot as a person, right? What do you think has been some of the big, like, aha, light bulb moments, whatever, for you that you've had over this time in terms of your own growth that you've experienced?
Well, I found basically doing a bit of meditation, morning rituals, just taking the time to, you know, sit back, take 5 minutes, think about, you know, my day, how it's gone, where I've been, how I can improve tomorrow. Yeah, it's been massive. Just the small things, I guess you'd say, the one percenters. The more you look at that, I think, you know, the better off you are. It's all good doing your training and eating right, but it's those little bits in between. Your recoveries, like I never used to do recoveries, so yeah, it's a massive difference.
And just touched on that as well. So like a lot of people don't usually give a shit about anything related to mindset. It's just focused on, I want to look good, I want to feel better. That's about it, right? So naturally, like whenever I'm working with guys, and it's just like at the start, there's always a bit of resistance when it comes to just like shit that I teach around mindset and, you know, doing things like meditations, doing things like affirmations, you know, de-stressing based stuff and whatever. And for a lot of people, it's perceived as like woohoo shit. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I feel like a pussy if I do that, or like that I'm like a spiritual hippie or whatever, right? But as you experience that, it allows you to slow down, to be centered, to be able to, you know, kind of think clearer and to be able to be solution focused. Because for a lot of us, we've just got so much fucking shit on that it becomes really hard to be able to even stick to anything, let alone be able to apply ourselves to training and whatever. And as you remember, Trent, one of the things I always drill into everyone is that victory begins between here. This is our biggest asset, but it can also be our biggest enemy in terms of the mindset that we have with how we approach problems, how we approach any of life's shit and that sort of stuff. And I think because of how well you have looked after your mindset and absorbed coaching from me and content, all that sort of shit, this is reflected in your ability to, you know, fucking most of the time trend well in terms of results and, you know, be an input fucking king, right? And for those of you, right, like in terms of not knowing what Trent does, so Trent's a tradie pretty much. He works in the sign industry, and for the more often than not, for the whole time we've been working together, he starts fucking really early in the morning. And he's like me in terms of not wanting to use his free time afterwards to go and lift. So he knuckles down, he's diligent with going to bed at a decent time so that he can get up fucking early to go and make gains before he has to go to work. That takes commitment, yeah. Yeah, especially going through winter as well, yeah, where it's fucking cold and it's still dark even when you finish your session, you know what I mean? So like it's never like an easy thing to go after what you want, you're always going to be met with resistance, right? Now for you, what do you think your why was to be able to do stuff like that, to be able to be consistent, to be able to keep doing the shit that you didn't necessarily feel like doing all the time? What do you think your why was that kept you, you know, fucking doing the work and all that sort of stuff throughout this time, bro? It's probably evolved, I'm sure, because that always changes. But what do you think your real internal drive was for yourself?
Well, the internal drive for myself, I think, was just to prove to myself that I could do it, that I was mentally strong enough to get up that early every day and bang my shit out before, you know, the sun comes up, and just get it done.
Because if you think about that, like, it's definitely an easier said than done scenario. But obviously, like, I personally believe that there's two frames of mind that someone can have. There's the just interested / perceiving what they want as like kind of like a dream, and there's those who have a dead set goal, they're committed, and therefore, well, they do what it takes, or they're resourceful to do what it takes to find a way. You're a prime example of that. A lot of people, because they're in the just interested column, as soon as life gets busy, fucking hectic or whatever, or they're met with sort of like some sort of adversity, right? That's when their goals go out the window, because they're not actually goals. They're just cool things that they like talking about in terms of what they would like to achieve in an ideal world. But you know what I mean? Like, they're actually just more than happy to just stay where they are. So part of your development has been, I'm sure you'd be, you know, in agreement with this, is it's like getting comfortable being uncomfortable at some stages because of what you're growing and what you're moving through, and handling life's adversities in that solution-focused mindset. Yeah, as you said, those rituals and meditations and stuff like that, they help make a massive difference. Now, in terms of from a like education point of view, you're already like a fairly switched on dude in terms of your knowledge around general health and whatever, right? And then I come in and then I teach you all this shit, and you're working through my content videos every week, right? What do you think were some of the biggest fucking learnings that you took from my like stuff that I've taught you? What do you think has been some of the biggest, like, what the fuck, or like, just not to say mind blown type stuff, but stuff that you were just like, wow, fuck, that makes sense, that challenges, you know, past beliefs, all that sort of stuff? What do you think has been some of the biggest learnings for you?
I guess one of the biggest ones that I'm going to take out of this is, how do I say this? That you know, there is no bad food. All food is good. It just depends on how much of it you eat and how you know, structure the rest of your food to accommodate eating, I guess you'd say, the bad food, which is, you know, the best tasting food. It might not be the best food for you, but that's ultimately, you know, where you want to be, I guess. Well, that's where I want to be. I want to be able to eat what I want when I want, and be able to, you know, make the gains still by eating that, by, you know, doing the rest of it the right way.
Yeah, well said, bro, for sure. That's something that I really resonate with as well, because like, before I discovered flexible dieting in 2013, so I've been a flexible dieter for some time now, but like before that, I was the fucking most broest clean eater, rigid fucking dude that you would come across, because my whole belief was same as what you said there. There's good food, there's bad food. You cannot eat anything that is processed, you know, refined, has sugar, whatever. Otherwise, you're a bad person. You'll go to hell and you will gain fat as soon as you look at it, right? That was my view. And naturally, as you can imagine, as soon as any of that stuff ever crossed my path, I would binge fucking on it hard, because naturally we crave what we tell ourselves we can't have. So for those listening, like with Trent, for example, like, I don't think I once told you what to eat. It was more so just aim for this, bro, or at specific times where it was like, right, I want you to eat more, aim for this for me, brother. I didn't once tell you what to eat, did I?
No, not once. I mean, no. I would sit there with MyFitnessPal app on a Sunday, and I would work out what I was going to eat for the whole week, and I would work it. I would play with it until I got to the point where I could eat it.
Because what that does is it teaches the power that we always have, no matter where we are in the world, or no matter what day it is, whatever shit we have got going on, and that's the power of personal choice. Because the biggest thing that fucks guys, and that what fucks everyone really when they're trying to get lean, is that when we do diets, usually that choice and control gets taken away and replaced with rules. And you're boxed in, and you're in some form of restriction, and that's what makes them so fucking hard to stick to. And obviously, well, then what's allowed Trent to be able to have that control in that space has been, cool, bro, here's some targets, let's see how you go. And yeah, like pretty much you took the hang of it fairly quickly, and then it's been a means of just guidance ever since and tweaking where necessary, with the goal to be getting him leaner without fucking up his strength. In other words, it's pretty much consistently progressed the whole time frame, which is fucking awesome. And for varying parts of it, building muscle while also getting leaner at the same time, which is also fucking really hard to do for anyone that just consistently undereats and tries to eat, you know, the miracle 1200 calories and all this sort of shit that we see, right? But instead we've gone, right, let's try and eat as much as we can while aiming for the results that we want. And welcome to the magic, right? The flexible lifestyle. Now, obviously beforehand, I think from memory, you in the past had dabbled with MyFitnessPal before, right? What do you think is different in terms of how you use it now and how I've taught you compared to how you used to use it in the past?
Oh,
or like how you used to think about it, for example. Like a lot of people can have like such a shit mindset around it and like, you know, literally despise the shit out of it because of how they've gone about it. And then obviously, you know, like us, like it's just like it's a fucking app. Like we can choose what we want to eat, we use it. How do you think, you know, things have changed in terms of that point of view for you?
Oh, definitely the biggest change is having the targets, the fat, protein, fiber targets to hit every week, every day. So you know, you've got to put in the effort to work that out. So yeah, that's something that I really enjoy. Yeah.
I personally, from like, because I actually, when I was first dabbling with flexible dieting, I can remember I fucked up this flexible lifestyle, flexible way of doing things because I approached it with, cool, like I do what most people do, which is find a fucking calculator online, wham your stats in, and it's like, fuck yeah, those are my targets. They seem way too high though, so I'm just going to go fucking chunk them in half, thinking that I'm going to get shredded quicker, right? And try and do so while eating 100% clean, right? You can probably guess what happened. I was already binging within my first few days, right? And it was just, yeah, such a restrictive, like, you can't approach lifestyle-based shit with a restrictive mindset, I'm sure you'd agree, right? So one of the things I touched on before was, right, into your future, you want to be able to eat what you want to, when you want to, and just have that personal choice. So therefore, what's so dumb is when people start off their journey and they're doing all this shit that doesn't align with that. You know what I mean? All the restriction, all this shit, like, yeah, you can grind with that for 6 weeks shred, 12 weeks shred, whatever, but then as soon as it's done, what are you supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean? You got nothing. All you know is just your previous reality. So it's like where Trent is now, because of how well we've kind of done these final phases, what awaits him now is more calories and moving towards maintenance, where he can continue to get stronger and stay lean through eating a shit ton more calories, right? Which is fucking cool, because a lot of people will just be in a deficit through all their fucking diets, jumping from thing to thing, and basically spend the bulk of their life, whether they know it or not, in a deficit. And the dangers of that is that it just fucks with everything. The goal should be to be able to, deficit to get lean, but then to be able to jump to maintenance and to be able to just allow your body to be healthy, right? Which is a fucking pretty exciting thing to get to, but a lot of people will never get to, which is why we see these shitty stats of 2 out of 3 guys being overweight and struggling with mental health. Children, 1 out of 3 struggling with their fucking body image and weight because they're also struggling with this shit, right? So in terms of, from your point of view, Trent, like, I can't actually remember if you had coaching or fucking training to any point of view in the past before, but obviously with me, you have, yay. What do you think have been the biggest things that you've taken away that you valued the most from having coach, me in your corner, compared to you trying to fucking make gains in the past solo before? What do you think have been the biggest fucking things that you valued the most?
Oh, just your knowledge, and just the fact that, you know, you can come to you with any sort of problem, and, you know, we work through it and there's an answer at the end, and, you know, it's the correct answer and it works every time. You make the little tweaks and the differences come back in. Even the few times that, you know, I'd had a few big binges here and there, and we'd tweak the little things for the next week, and we'd back on progress streak. Like things are heading back up in the right direction.
Exactly, that's it. And like to touch on one thing there, just because someone gets coaching isn't going to make them perfect. And the journey isn't about being perfect, because all of us are perfectly imperfect, right? We've all got different, sort of shit going on, different paths and whatever. But like, I'm sure you'd agree, Trent, that like it's much easier to be able to be perfect 80% of the time than it is to fucking grind and just sacrifice so much of your life in favor of trying to be perfect 100% of the time, and the journey just sucks shit. You know what I mean? Because one of those two is a lot more sustainable and enjoyable, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and like as you said as well, it's the mindset that you have around making mistakes and fuck ups. Like every single person I've ever worked with throughout my fucking almost decade of coaching now, like there's never been someone that hasn't fucked up at least a few times, right? But always the same approach is, fuck yeah, awesome. You made a mistake. What can we learn from it? Awesome. Let's put this in place and move forward.
That's exactly it. I think you need. I think at times you need to make mistakes to grow and move forward. It's a learning curve, and it's an experience.
But then the difference is that with this approach, it's just like you are learning what to do to be able to minimize said mistakes happening, because you're aligning yourself to do it like the right things, obviously with the path that you're on. Whereas when people are typically solo and they're making mistakes and shit hits the fan and whatever the fuck has gone on, if someone's solo and they're only accountable to themselves, well, what are they going to do, right? AKA they're off the wagon, they're going to go and do some shit to kind of like handle their discomfort, AKA likely binge, or just not give a fuck for a while and go and take their feels out on banging some chicks, or just go and making gains in the gym but then still not getting anywhere. Like it can become quite a vicious cycle, like with making mistakes solo. But obviously in this approach of coaching, like coaching is obviously just that, like forcing you to raise your standards and to learn through your actions so you get better and better, and then actually it reflects in your results and you fucking make mad gains, right? So yeah, dude, that's fucking awesome. And like when someone like what makes someone coachable is when they are literally that coachable. They're hungry for guidance, they're hungry for fucking answers, they just want to be certain and they're prepared to do the work. And for a lot of people, they don't fit that because, well, they just want all this fucking success and whatever, and they want it to come easy without having to push through any fear, right? So kudos to you that, well, yeah, you've had that solution-focused mindset, able to push through fear and hurdles, and that's why you've made the gains that you have, right? So from your point of view, brother, right, obviously coaching, yeah, it's an investment. Yeah, you're putting in some dollars, but it's just like, well, from my opinion, from my experience as well anyway, given how long I went solo before I even had my first coach, you lose so much fucking time, money and energy spent on doing dumb shit that, you might not have done if you had coaching, because you learn how to do things right? So from your point of view, like if you're trying to spread some insight and some fucking tips, if you will, into someone who hasn't had coaching before that's watching this but could be considering it from watching our chat so far, why would you recommend that getting coaching is a fucking really good idea, and that they should consider, fucking potentially working with me?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's definitely worth a shot getting on the Angus bandwagon. The amount that I have learned in the past 12 months is incredible, and having someone there to hold you accountable and ask the questions why you're doing what the things that you shouldn't be doing, and not adhering to what you've been given, your tasks for the week. It's massive, and I mean, yeah, there's a bit of money outlaid with a coach, but without a coach, I reckon, in supplements and, all the other bullshit that you waste your money on to get, to get to where you think you're going to get, compared to, where I've got in the last 12 months without having to, use any of that stuff, is massive. And, without you, I think, I'd still be, running around, old Lone Jane back in the same place I was 12 months ago. It's, it's crazy. It's awesome.
That's it, brother. And something you touched on there was pretty funny, but pretty spot on. That made me sort of laugh, and that was the like. To kind of reframe it, like time's gonna go by. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously dollars is dollars. We make more of it. We trade our time for it, whatever. But yeah, supplements and shit like that. Like even me in the past, there was a time where I was so fixated on like just trying to grind and make gains that I remember once I was dumping about 600 a month into fucking subs, test boosters, BCAs, fucking pre-workouts, protein. Like I was having all this shit and had like a massive cupboard full of gains of like, oh well, that's the thing. I wasn't making gains, but it was filled with all my subs, right? And one of the things that I coach my guys in is just be like, right, cool, let's kind of get off as much of that as we can, and let's just learn how to eat food, because all the shit that's in subs is in food. And that's why a lot of guys are so deficient in so much shit, is because they might only eat chicken, brown rice, broccoli, oats, egg whites, and maybe a fucking banana as their fruit source. And because they're so small in terms of their variety of food, they're missing out so much micronutrition, and that's why they end up fucking eating all these fucking pills and stuff like that to try and bridge the gap, and why they just smash protein, because, well, yeah, like a lot of guys are so marketable, like same as chicks, they buy skinny shred detox things and, you know, all this sort of stuff. Like guys, we fall into so much dumb shit as well. So it's kind of like, well, the money you save, yeah, from no substance sort of stuff, coaching essentially, well, yeah, almost kind of levels out the playing field and makes it almost free in comparison, doesn't it? But other way, it's just like, I'm not seeing it as a cost. Money is just like, money, if you spend it on dumb shit, that's a cost. But with coaching, it's an investment to be able to learn how to get from A to B, you know, without making the same mistakes that, or whoever you're working with, you know, made themselves to get to where they are. So you've been a fucking awesome student, Trent. Kudos to you, brother. Hopefully, whoever's watching has inspired them to be able to get on the Angus wagon and, you know, not write themselves off as a lost cause. And even just like, I remember just touching on one last thing. I remember with yourself, one of the things that was hard to grasp was how someone's metabolism can actually get better as they get leaner, as opposed to it getting worse. And for a lot of people, they just think that they've got a fuck metabolism from, you know, right? In terms of like you and how we've, how what I've seen, like, and this is just through the introduction of the Fitbit, I was like, holy fuck, brother, like, look how much you burn each day, like, and then hence wanting to gradually keep piling up your calories even more is because, like, when someone moves, and when they're, you know, eating decent calories and all this sort of stuff, like, yeah, so much guys just, like, ramming in the point, stop fucking under eating, stop restricting, stop fucking doing so much dumb shit, because all it's going to do is just turn you skinny fat at best over time. Which, let's face it, like, none of us are going to look great naked skinny fat, are we? Nope.
No way.
Not in a singlet, not fucking in anything. Yeah, like, you can only hide yourself so much with clothes, right? But thanks for your kind words, brother. Thanks for your insights. Your transformation has been awesome. Kudos to you. Keep grinding, and thanks so much for coming on the call, mate.
No worries. Pleasure.
And boom, there we go. Hope you really enjoyed that interview with myself and Trent. And as I said, the purpose of why I like to have little interviews / success story calls like this is to be able to, like, really just showcase the power of what's possible when you have a coach and mentor on your side. Because naturally, some of the best in the game across any industry, you will find that, well, if you want to master something, rather than just learning through your own mistakes, willy-nilly cruising along, it makes so much sense to just learn and, model from someone who is further down the line than you, so that you can get to where they are or achieve similar success without making the same mistakes that they made to get to where they are. So naturally with me, with what I do as part of Alpha Male Mastery, which is the program that Trent's been part of and the coaching process that he's gone through, my focus is to basically solve problems. I just love helping guys, men and women across the world, to be able to really just, understand the game and to be able to free them from it. Mastering flexible dieting, mastering the aspects of weight training and getting fitter and stronger, and done in a way where they can just consistently get healthier, and then that makes maintaining what they achieved far easy. Because it's cool to see weight loss stories and stuff like that, but then more often than not, what's very common is the person not being able to maintain what they've achieved because what they did was so restrictive. So as you would have seen from what I took Trent through, I didn't it's just fucking amazing, and it warms my heart knowing that I get to do this for a living, and I'm so passionate about it. So do me a favor.